What's going down, folks? It's your boy C back on the Madden 17 franchise, and we're about to dive into the off-season of season number 4, and we're just about at the point where we're trying to bring in some new talent on the squad via free agency and also later in the draft. But this video is going to focus exclusively on free agency, and I'm probably going to end up getting a draft video out to you guys immediately after this one, so you'll probably get back-to-back uploads, but we'll see how that goes. Now, the next thing that I want to say here before we get into the video is welcome aboard to all the 200 some odd new subscribers that all found my channel interesting enough for whatever reason to click the subscribe button within the last 4 days. Now, just to give you guys some perspective on that, it usually takes about 2.5 to 3 weeks for me to get 100 subscribers. So 200 subs in under 4 days is a really big deal to me. So I appreciate it, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. So here's what the squad looks like right now before we do anything to it, before we make any type of move whatsoever. This is it. We've got nothing less than a B- as far as overall positions go. So that's going to be a huge positive for us to build on right there. But there are a couple of key positions that I would like to address either in free agency or in the draft, and that's left guard and center. Both Andy Levitre and Alex Mack are getting up there in age. I think they're both 33 years old at this point. They're still pretty effective, but I think now is the time that we want to look at bringing in their replacements. Now, onto the defensive side of the ball, just like with the offense, I think we pretty much have all of our defensive starters already in place. I think we could get stronger at the defensive tackle position because we did lose Grady Jarrett to free agency. But even if I completely whiff on D-tackle in the draft, I got a couple of ideas and I'm probably going to keep to myself for now on what I could do with my defensive line to get more pressure on the quarterback and also play the run a little bit stronger than last season. Now, onto my linebackers, I could probably use a little bit of depth at pretty much every position, but I think I'm okay, especially at middle linebacker because I do a lot of usering with Shazier. And as for my secondary, I'm pretty happy with where things are right now, for the exception of the Dre Kirkpatrick experiment. Now, you guys, I'm pretty much over that experiment. I signed him 2 seasons ago based on your recommendations, and he regressed every single year. So that one's on you guys. But in all seriousness, you guys, it wouldn't be the worst thing if we had to keep him since he is our 4th cornerback, but it would be nice to bring in a possible replacement. So we'll see what we can do there. Now, taking a quick look at the list of available free agents, just like it's been in the last couple of seasons, there's really no free agent that I feel I have to sign. I mean, the top free agent's a 35-year-old Delaney Walker. Come on now. But Dante Fowler, though, that pick is kind of intriguing to me for a couple of reasons. If we put Beasley and Fowler together, we'll have 2 of the top edge rushing prospects in the 2015 draft, and also give me a little bit more flexibility to play mad scientist with my defensive line rotation, so I could definitely see that working out. Now, one thing I think I forgot to mention earlier in this video is our cap situation. We've got $37 million in cap room, and that's still after I placed the franchise tag on Andy Levitre, for those of you guys that are wondering. So we've got a decent chunk of change to play around with if we decide to do that. Now, as we continue to go through the list of free agents, check out our boy Matt Ryan, getting a lot of interest from the New York Jets, and you guys should already know that I would have loved to have kept him on the squad, at least to play a backup role for Zach Anderson, but $11.6 million for a 34-year-old, 82 overall quarterback is just not happening, you guys. And don't get me wrong, I understand the flack that I took from you guys by benching him last season, but I still think that starting Zach Anderson was the right call. Now, onto the running backs. Yeldon's available, so is Mark Ingram, Melvin Gordon, Tevin Coleman, obviously. And I think I touched on it a little bit in the last video for the season recap that I would like to add a back at some point. Even though Dre Eubanks put up monster numbers last season, I think that adding another back at some point could be a good thing. Now, onto the wide receivers that are available. I'm not really in the market. I see Jordy Nelson's on the board, so is Tyler Lockett, Ty Montgomery, and a few others. None of these guys really fit the mold of what I'm trying to do with my offense. And quite frankly, I just like my guys, so we're probably going to skip this position altogether in the draft and in free agency. But right now, I'm just going through the list of players, seeing who's available, and maybe luck out and find a gem, maybe one of these speedy guys that can come in and play special teams, or maybe somebody that can come in on a gadget play or something like that. Those are the type of guys that I probably find right about now, but my starters are all but set at wide receivers. Mohamed Sanu is getting some attention there from the 49ers. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out because Alex Smith is actually back on the 49ers in my franchise, you guys. And that reminds me of something I was thinking about yesterday. Would you guys be interested in knowing more about what's going on in the franchise besides what's just happening with my team? Because there's some crazy stuff that happens sometimes you guys might want to know about. And as we're looking at tight ends here, you guys, if Greg Olsen was about 6 years younger, he would definitely be the target that we're looking for. So more than likely what we're going to do at tight end is just wait for the draft and see what happens there. Left guard, pretty much the same thing. I'm not really seeing a lot there. And sure, there are a ton of players that I could probably sign if I was looking for a stopgap left guard, but keep in mind I am looking for the eventual successor to Andy Levitre there, so we're going to end up seeing if we can get one in the draft. Now, like I said earlier in the video, Alex Mack is also getting up there in age. He's 33 years old, and I believe he's on the last year of his contract, so now will be a good time to replace him, or rather find his eventual replacement. That's what I meant to say. But free agency once again is dried up on me. There's nothing here. So the only player that I truly feel is worth making a play on day one is Dante Fowler. Now, I know his skill set's not going to jump off the page at you or anything like that, but I did purchase the player progression upgrade for the coach specifically for defensive linemen. So after a solid year of development, maybe two, I think he could be pretty nice. So we're going to go on ahead and offer him a contract, and we're not going to mess around with the numbers. We're going to give him exactly what he's asking for, a 4-year deal worth $33.2 million. His agent's going to take him the offer, and after an imaginary day, Dante Fowler has officially agreed to terms. So welcome aboard, Dante, and that's really going to make my defensive line that much more fun to play around with, so I can't wait to get started on that. So then we hop right back into the next round of free agency, and our next target is going to be Tevin Coleman, and we are not giving him anything close to what he's asking for. Remember when I offered him a fair deal back in the season and he decided to walk away from the table? Well, it's fair to say that he bet on himself there, and he is losing right now. He got no interest from any other teams whatsoever, so we're going to try to throw him a deal and see if he takes it. Now, the next player who surprisingly hadn't signed with another team is DRC. Yes, I know he's 33 years old, but if you ignore the age for a second and focus only on the skills, the man can still ball. So we're definitely going to throw him a deal. He wants 1 year worth $3.47 million, so we're going to oblige and offer him that contract. And this is essentially who he's going to be replacing. So Drake Kirkpatrick is pretty much as good as gone. So both Coleman and DRC accepted their offers, and we got a couple of trade offers to look at. The first one is for Rob Rouse, a linebacker that I drafted, I want to say maybe in the 6th round of last year's draft. I'm not sure exactly. Somebody go back and take a look at that for me and let me know, but I know I drafted him pretty late. Anyway, look at what New England is offering for this guy. They want to give me a total of 3 picks, a 2nd and a 6th from next year's draft, along with a 5th from this year's draft. Now that seems like a really great deal, but I had to think to myself, maybe they know something about him that I don't. So I pulled up his card and looked at his core attributes, and sure enough, I don't see anything worth that value. So I went back to New England, got Belichick to finalize the paperwork, and the deal was done. Now, the second offer for Devondre Campbell is something that I'm going to decline because I want to keep Devondre around a little bit longer, and as it turns out, I may have a major role for him to play in a future defense, but you guys are going to have to wait for that in another video. Anyways, you guys, that's all the time I got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm signing off, and I'll see you in the next one.